Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
Love is patient. Love is patient. Love is patient. Actually, I think I might have actually accidentally, Noah, I might have actually removed the 1 Corinthians 13 verse. So if you could, Noah, do you know how to add scriptures on there? Did I show you how to do that? No? Okay. Well, I will just read to you. So we are continuing a series. It is called Love. Right there. It's going to have lots of action words. What I love about that is everybody gets really annoyed about. I can actually say it, but everybody still gets annoyed even though. Adjective. And see, even knowing that I can say the word adjective and then me messing up on it, it still gets you. It makes your heart tight. You're like, it's agitating when I can't say adjective. Nice. So, if you have your Bibles, turn with me to 1 Corinthians 13. We do have some New Testament, so if you don't have a Bible and you want to follow along with us, just raise your hand. We will get a Bible to you. If you want to take those Bibles home, if you don't have a Bible, you are more than welcome to take those home. Just if you do plan on leaving those here, please don't destroy them because we like to use those every week. But again, if you need a Bible, please come see me afterwards. But if you have a Bible, turn with me to 1 Corinthians 13. This is where we've been camping out. It won't be on the screen this week. I apologize. I had fart brain. That is a medical term. If you don't believe me, go ask a doctor, preferably one that plays one on TV. So, House would actually know the answer because House is amazing. All right. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. Now, we've been camping out here for the past few weeks. This is week number 4, I believe, if my counting is correct. But I am homeschooled from Riverdale, so I might be wrong. We have gone through love is patient. And overall, this thing, I want to reiterate this every single week so that you guys understand this. Love is a choice. Love is not what the world tries to portray it as, whereas it's an emotion that you can fall into love and fall out of love. What love is truly supposed to be in our lives is it is a decision, it's a dedication that you decide that you were going to love someone. I told you guys before, way before I even proposed to my wife, I decided that I was going to love her. And what that entailed was no matter how hard things got, no matter how difficult things were in our life, no matter how much we were fighting, I decided I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. So I decided no matter what, I'm going to stick with her and make things happen. And just so you know, I am watching you guys in the third row over here. So if you're going to be distracting a bunch of people around you, I'm going to ask you to move. Ken, if you can help me with that, that'd be great. Also, we have some people over here in the back row. If you want to put your phones away or whatever you're passing back and forth, the second row from the back, yeah, you with the hat and next to it. If you can put that away, yeah, you're... Fro boy is pointing right there. Yeah, there you go. If you can put that stuff away, I'd appreciate that. You're distracting some people around you. Love is a decision. That is the thing, that is the concept I want you to understand, because as you guys grow up and you find the people that you want to spend the rest of your life with, that is going to be the thing that makes your marriage last. Because if you think that you're going to enter into a marriage relationship and you're going to have the same warm, fuzzy feelings through the entirety of your relationship, it's not going to work out that way. I'm not saying that it's going to be a ride through hell all the time. You're going to have some difficult times, but the thing that's going to carry you through those difficult times is your dedication and your decision to love that person no matter how crappy it gets. Thinking that you're going to live in that honeymoon season. Now, I will admit, some people, they are able to go through a relationship with fuzzier love feelings than what other people have in a relationship. It's not going to be the same across the board. But I'm just saying, generally, the thing that you're going to want to focus on to carry your relationship through is going to be the commitment to love no matter what. Because that's the vow that you make on your wedding day. I mean, no one says, I take you as my wife to have and to hold until I get bored with you and find a younger woman before God. I mean, that's not very romantic. So nobody makes that pledge to each other on their wedding day. They say, sickness and health, for richer or poor, I will stand next to you for the rest of my life. That's the hope. That's the desire. But if you base that off of the emotion only, you'll probably fail. So I know I've talked to a lot of teenagers and students through my life, and I've not yet met one who says, I want to get married and get divorced 2 years later with a kid. That's my dream. I'm so excited about that. So the things that I share with you is regards to love. If you take this to heart, if you listen, if you truly try to apply this in your life, you are setting yourself up for a better chance in your marriage than most people have. And I love you guys. Like I said, I want the best for you. I don't just get up here because I love the sound of my voice. I do, obviously. I get up here because I care for you guys. I love you. I want the best for you. I've been telling you for the past 3 weeks, I love you guys to the point of wub, okay? And that's the greatest form of love there is, W-U-B, wub. I wub you guys. I wubbed you. And that wasn't an ethnic joke either. So, love is patient. Patience is a foundation of love and how you express that towards people. It is no matter how annoying, no matter how stressful things get in your life, your patience carries you through. Your decision to remain calm and express love towards that person, that is expressed through patience. Kindness goes hand in hand with that, because if you're truly trying to be patient with them, you will try to be kind to them, because when you get impatient, you're unkind. So you try to have patience with them. Bear through all things. Be patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not looking at other people's lives going, I want what they have. And it is not also someone that says, look at what I have. I have things that are better than yours. That is not a loving attitude. That's not how you express love towards other people. And if you're a Christian in here, this has even more significance, because that is how you share the love of God. You do not count yourself as better or even worse than anyone else. You just try to share the love of God with other people. It is not arrogant, which means you're not full of yourself. If you think that you're all that in a stack of pancakes, it's hard for you to express love towards other people because you think that they're less significant than yourself. You can't truly walk out in love if you have that attitude. It is not arrogant or rude. Rude goes hand in hand with that, because if you're arrogant, you treat people like crap. Love is an expression to where it's a positive takeaway for the other person. It does not insist on its own way, meaning it's not selfish. It is not focused on just what can I get for myself. The other side of love is selfishness, okay? You cannot be selfish in thinking about yourself and truly love someone else, because love puts other people first. It is not irritable or resentful. Irritable, we were talking about that, to where it's easily angered. We talked about slow to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger. Slow to listen, I know last week, again, it sounds a little backwards on this, because it's slow to listen. You need to just take time, process what the other person is saying, because a lot of times you misunderstand what they're trying to say. Slow to speak is, a lot of you pride yourself on your comebacks. Some of you just need to shut up sometimes, because you cause a lot of strife, and a lot of the stuff that comes out of your mouth is not loving. And you're like, you just told us to shut up. Yeah, but I love you. I said shut up in a loving way. I say shut up around my son. He's like, no, Daddy, no say that. You're right, I'm sorry. Shut up. Is not irritable or resentful. Now we're talking about resentful tonight. Now, another version of this, if you have the New King James, it says, thinks no evil. And going into this, we go into the meaning of resentful. If you want to put that up for me, Noah, my main man. It says, having or showing a feeling of anger or displeasure about someone or something unfair, which is another adjective. I love you guys. Yeah, it's another big word. Action word. Having or showing a feeling of anger or displeasure about someone or something unfair, which would include a lot of things, because we can resent people for different things, because we think that they have better things than us. We resent them because of something that they did to us, something that they said. You feel that it is something, in the case of where they have something that you think that you deserve, you think that it's unfair, something to where they said something mean to you, and you feel that that's unfair, that they thought that they had the right to where they can communicate that way to you, to where they treated you poorly, and you think that that's unfair because you think that no one should have the right to treat you that way. A lot of times it comes back to you, but if you are truly walking in a loving sense towards other people, you catch yourself on this. I'm not saying that you're going to be immune to this feeling, okay? Because if someone comes up to you and they call you a poopy face, you're going to be a little resentful about what they had. Okay, never mind. You're going to laugh about it because they just said poop, and you're like, poop. If they call you a bad name, if they say something mean about you and your mama, I did that earlier. I'm sorry. I apologize, Ben. I'm really sorry about that. but you resent them for that, you can actually catch yourself in the middle of this. So I don't want you getting the impression that you are going to be perfect in this, because people can still say things to me, and I can be resentful. It hurts my feelings. I think that it's unfair, so I show displeasure or even anger sometimes. But in that moment, you have a decision. I talked about this last week of where we have these emotions, and people are trying to tell you that you have no control over your emotions, but you do. Each and every single one of us have control over our emotions to where we can catch ourselves in the moment. We can feel that we're starting to get angry. We can feel that we're starting to be resentful. We can catch ourselves in that moment and decide at that moment, is this the type of person I want to be? You can decide, am I going to let this take root in my life? The analogy that I love about this, and we're going to be talking about unforgiveness tonight, is the analogy that to where an acorn falls to the ground. You know what happens with that acorn if it's left there? It grows into a big tree. Now, what would be easier? Kicking the acorn out of the hole that it's starting to grow into, just taking your toe and kicking it out of the ground? Or waiting years and then having this big tree to deal with later on to where you're going to have to call on bulldozer and get some dynamite. You know what I'm talking about? It's like I've been watching a lot of Winnie the Pooh with my kid, and I love Gopher because everything is solved by dynamite, and I like his thinking. But what's easier, kicking out the acorn or dealing with the tree later on? That's what unforgiveness is in your life. So you have a decision. Is this the type of person that I want to be? Do I want to be a resentful person? And you might not think that this is a big deal right now. You're like, I don't have a problem with it. But the thing is that if you open the door on resentment now and unforgiveness now, and you allow for it to grow into your life, it will get worse and worse and worse and worse until you grow up to be an old, bitter man or woman with no friends and no true love in your life because you allowed anger, bitterness, and resentment, unforgiveness, all the dark side, you've allowed it into your life there, and you've done nothing about it. So think about it. If you take what I'm talking about tonight and you apply it in your life to where I do not want to grow up to be an angry, bitter old person, if you take this and apply this in your life and start looking at situations now, it will affect your life for the rest of your life positively. You will feel that you are happier in situations. You feel that your heart is lighter because you're not carrying the emotional load of all the hurt, all the pain throughout your entire life. Because guess what? Life, while people say life is short, life can be long too. I mean, 80, 90, 100 years now, that can be a long time to carry around unforgiveness and resentment towards people. And I hear stories again and again of where people on their deathbed, they're 80, 90 years old, and it's only then that they forgive people that offended them when they were in their 20s. They carried it their whole entire life. They carried the anger to where it was constantly with them, day in, day out. They felt that for decades. You don't want that. You don't want to carry that load. Life is already long enough and hard enough as it is. You don't need to have that unforgiveness in your life because love is forgiveness. If you have your Bibles, please turn with me to Ephesians. We're going to go to 4:31. Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians. If you get to Philippians, too far? Yeah, you're like, Philippians. That's the opposite of flipping offs. I just had a mental joke on that, but I'm not going to tell it. You'll get it. Just say it enough in your head. You're like, oh, I know what he was going to say. Philippians 4:31, going to 32. It says, let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander be put away from you, along with all malice. Be kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, as God in Christ forgave you. You can go get your phone if you need it. Oh, you're too embarrassed to go get it? That was your phone? Well, go get it. It's your phone. Everybody point and stare. I didn't say laugh. That's just rude. Love is not rude. Love points and stares. So let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander be put away from you along with all malice. Be kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another. I want you guys to see that. Do you have the verse up there? Did I not put that up there? There we go. Right there. Well, see this line? See that line right there? Camera. You on me? You on me, camera? Hey, get off your butt. Follow me. Are you on me? Okay. See right here? Forgiving one another. Okay? Big, huge part of love right there. If you truly want to show love towards someone else, you have to forgive them. You have to. That is going to be the cornerstone foundation of so much in your life, is learning how to let go of crap. Some of you guys are really good at holding on to things, okay? You're like a dog that bit onto a bone and And you're never going to let go of that thing. Because someone did something stupid towards you. Now you're going to carry that for years. That person probably is not even going to remember what they said or what they did. Most likely. You're going to be angry at them, and they're like 10 years down the road, like, what did I do to cause us to not be friends anymore? Well, you did this. I don't even remember that. What are you talking about? Are you sure that was even me? Yes, I remember it was you. I burned the date and your name in my arm. And it's like, really? It's a little much? No, it's quite descriptive. But I mean, some people are going to carry things around, and this is what you need to do. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander be put away from you. Those are the things that you need to be aware of. You need bitterness and wrath and anger. Those are the things that lead to unforgiveness. So if you are one that deals with unforgiveness, you need to get down to the root and the core of everything here is, you know what? You might have an anger problem. Oh, I'm sorry, did I scare you, kid? You might have, by the way, if you guys weren't here, was it last week or the week before? I scared a kid. There was a, it doesn't take, with his face, I imagine. I thought he was laughing. I would have apologized, but I yelled and he started bawling his eyes out, and just in my defense, he was 5, okay? Everyone's like, wow, you jerk. You made a teenager cry? Like, absolutely. At Ignite, we're hardcore. We're on the west side. No. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and slander be put away from you along with malice. And it's talking about anger at the core of all of this. And so if you find that you are carrying unforgiveness for a lot of people in your life, if you find that you're carrying a lot of anger and unforgiveness in your life, that is the core of it, is anger. You need to deal with that anger problem so that you can deal with your unforgiveness. So the way that you do that is you start with your unforgiveness towards everyone else. There's a conversation going on over here. Can I get one of the adult leaders, if you can kind of plant yourself over, one of the adult leaders. Pat, you're almost there. One of the adult leaders to kind of plant yourself in this area to kind of help them. I'd appreciate that. But what you need to do is you need to start with your unforgiveness there. Go through and find, okay, this person, I'm dealing with unforgiveness towards them. This person, I'm unforgiveness towards them. This person, unforgiveness towards them. And start working on forgiving them, letting go of that anger and that resentment towards them, because it's not hurting them and it's not helping you. You need to forgive them, work through that. And how do you do that? Again, love is a choice. Love is a decision. You get to choose what you do in those circumstances, and it's going to take time and prayer a lot of times to truly walk out. Because with forgiveness, here's the fun thing about it. Forgiveness is not just a one-time fix. There have been circumstances in my life to where I've forgiven someone once, and I'm fine. I let it go. I move on. I don't have any problem with it. I've had many circumstances to where I need to forgive the person. Then I 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 forgive the person. You see what I'm saying? For the same thing. And it's not even a thing that they're doing it again and again and again. It's just that the feeling of anger and resentment towards them for that keeps coming back. And that's for me to deal with, not for them. And so no matter how many times you need to forgive, and we're going to talk about that a little bit, no matter how many times you have to come back and forgive that person, you need to keep at it. You need to be dedicated. Because to be free from the anger problem, to be free from the unforgiveness, you have to be dedicated to carry through. Be kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you. As a Christian, as a believer, that's what you need to realize, is that as a Christian, you don't have a choice but to forgive. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow for some of you, because you're like, you don't know what some people have done to me. I don't care what they have done to you when it comes to this. I'm sorry that someone hurt you. But as a Christian, you have no choice but to forgive, because you've already been forgiven for everything. So if you find that you consider yourself a believer, I'm sorry, I'm popping your bubble here. If you find that you consider yourself a follower of Christ and you harbor unforgiveness towards people, if you are truly a follower of Christ, you will deal with that unforgiveness and you will forgive them, because you don't have a choice. Because you will act on what you believe. And as we were forgiven, as Christ forgave us, we need to forgive other people. Turning to Hebrews, we're going to Hebrews 12. It's also to the right there. Hebrews 12, and we're going to verse 14 to 15. It says, strive for peace with everyone. Now, when you first read this, you're kind of like, no, that should only say the people that I like. I should only strive for peace with my friends. It's a little broader idea than that, because unforgiveness can come from your friends, it can come from your family, but it can also come from people that you don't even know. And it's still the same issue. It's still the same anger that you need to deal with. So strive for peace with everyone, and for holiness, without which no one will see the Lord. See to it that no one fails to obtain the grace of God, that no root of bitterness, talking about unforgiveness, springs up and causes trouble, and by it many become defiled. And what it's talking about there is we need to support one another, encouraging others to forgive. Forgiveness is not just a thing to where it's we focus on just ourselves sometimes. At Ignite, we are a family. We come here to support one another through hard times, through good times. We are always here for one another because we care for one another. We love you guys. And I hope that you guys love each other. Because what we are going for here is a family, a support group, to where you can come here and have a safe place to where you know that you belong and you're not being judged. But in that, there's an important element of the climate of true love and true forgiveness. And what it's talking about there is it says that no root of bitterness spring up and causes trouble, and by it many are defiled. It talks about an environment to where people are allowing others, people that they know, to go on in unforgiveness without any support, any true support to help them along in the proper way to walk in love. And if you see that, it says, see that no one fails to obtain the grace of God, that no root of bitterness. And what it's talking about there is creating an environment to where people can forgive. But it's also an encouragement on the other side. I want to make sure that I hit on this point, is that you stay in an environment to where you can forgive. Because let me give you this example. Okay? We have a girl here. She has friends, girlfriends, if you will. And someone says something mean to her over here. So what she does, she goes to her girlfriends. You know what Shanae said about me? I can't believe so. She's over here. She's not even saying anything anymore. She goes over to her friends, and she starts talking about the crap that Shanae said. So what her friends start doing, as good girlfriends do, oh, no, she didn't. I'm going to let me at her. Where's she at? Starting like, okay, creating a negative environment already. She's like, I can't believe she said that about you. She fed herself. I can't believe she said that about you. Girl, you look fine. She, building her up, trying to be a good friend, but tearing this other person down at the same time. So what they do is they create an environment to where her anger towards her feels justified. Do you guys see what I'm saying? You guys have experienced this. You see your friends go through it. You have done it yourself. You have tried to be the friend supporting your friend because you think that that's what true love is. But if you truly loved that person, you would not create an environment to where it stokes their anger up. You're adding oxygen and gasoline to the fire to where they allow that root of bitterness to grow in their life. You create the very environment that is going to feed the thing in their heart that is going to hurt them long term. If you love that person, you would not do that. Now, the thing is that walking out in that type of love is going to annoy some people, because some people are going to come to you if you try to walk out in love towards them and not create that environment. They're going to be like, do you know what so-and-so said to me? You're like, well, you need to understand that person, their home life is not that great. They're just hurting people, hurt people. They say stupid stuff. They're just lashing out because they themselves are hurt. People say this stuff to them. Whose side are you on? Are you their friend? Fine, go be their friend. You can be their friend. I don't need you. That's happened. I've heard that before. And it's silly, but it happens. You trying to create an environment of love to where you're trying to understand the other person and where they're coming from. Okay, yes, they're stupid, but guess what? We're all stupid. People do stupid things. Let it go. It's not worth it. It really doesn't matter. Is their opinion really worth that much to you? Trying to create an environment to where they can walk in love and forgive the person is so much better for that person than you going, oh yeah, they're a terrible person. But also on the other side of that, where are you going when you're offended? When you resent someone for something that they did or they said, where are you going? To the gym. Okay, that's good. Start there. It's good. Deal with it. But what kind of environment do you put yourself in? Do you go to the friends that you know are going to have your back, and they're going to just feed into your anger and justify your anger to where it grows and takes root in your life and allows that unforgiveness to be planted and stay? Or do you look for friends that are going to build you up? I'm not talking about to where they're going to like, just get over it. Suck it up, buttercup. I'm not talking about that, okay? I'm talking about true friends that will be there for you and say, you know what? What they said is completely untrue. You are a great person. You're my best friend. You're a good person. Their opinion in this matter does not count. I know it to be false. They're going to lift that person up without stoking the anger and making it worse. Those are the type of friends that you want to go to. Now going over to 1 Peter, again, that's to the right, just a little bit more. Hebrews, James, 1 Peter, if you see 2 Peter, if I know my numbers right. It's 1 Peter 2, 21 through 23. I really hate it when you put up the verse before I even find it, Noah. I'm starting to really resent you. You found it. Okay, put it up. Okay, good. For to this you have been called, because Christ also suffered for you, leaving you an example, so that you might follow in his steps. He committed no sin, neither was deceit found in his mouth. When he was reviled, he did not revile in return. When he suffered, he did not threaten, but continued entrusting himself to him who judges justly. Talking to the Christians, the believers in here, this is what this is speaking to you specifically. For to this you have been called. For this, as believers, you have been called, because Christ also suffered for you. He gave his life to leave you this example. Again, as Christians, followers of Christ, you follow his example, his way, his teaching. And it goes on and it says, he committed no sin, neither was deceit found in his mouth. When he was reviled, he did not revile in return. So the people that are angry towards you have unforgiveness towards you, and they are coming after you and your reputation. You do not go after them in kind. Oh, so you're going to say that about me? Let's get this on. You do not respond in kind. As others, I taught this before, but I say this again. You should live the type of life to where your character speaks for itself, to where no matter how many people come against you and speak against you and say negative things about you, your character will stand up because your previous actions will put to lie anything they can say. Because your character is to a point to where anybody who hears that crap will say, no, I know that person and I know they are incapable of doing that. That allows you to live that life of where if people come against you, you don't have to go after them because your character speaks for itself. When he suffered, he did not threaten. And let me speak to this directly, okay? And I'm gonna probably offend a few people, and if you leave, just know that you're always welcome back. But there has been a lot of childish, if you could silence your phone real quick, that'd be great. When I'm trying to get into a deep, heavy moment, and all of a sudden the Pokemon theme song comes on, it's just... There has been a lot of stupid, childish drama going on here. And you feel that because someone said something negative about you, that you can say something negative about them. So someone threatens you, so you threaten them. And it's a stupid, childish cycle. It has no place here. And honestly, it has no place in real life, but a lot of people make concessions to make it fit. So if you have unforgiveness and bitterness towards other people here because they looked at you wrong, they said the wrong thing to your friends, they lied about you, I don't care what is going on. Be the bigger person, grow up, and let it go. When reviled, do not revile in return. When you suffer, do not threaten. But Jesus, he continued entrusting himself to him who judges justly. And that's what we're supposed to do as Christians. We are supposed to rise above the anger, rise above the bitterness, rise above the unforgiveness and say, my life belongs to God. What can anybody do or say against me that matters in the long run? That is why I get up here every single week and I speak the truth to you, even if I think that if I'm going to offend you, I'm going to offend you loving you and sharing the truth with you. And if you have unforgiveness, it's no blame against me. That is an issue that you have to deal with. And it's because I care for you guys. Turning over to Matthew, that is over to the left. If you have the New Testament Bibles with you, that'll be the first book in there. We're going to Matthew 6. It's Matthew with 2 T's. By the way, there was a really cool thing that was going around on Facebook. I know it's probably been around before, but it was a challenge that I saw. It was one of the students that used to come here years ago. Their mom was on my Facebook, and they said, try this game where you go on Google Images and you search your first name with glamour photo. Has anybody ever seen that? So I did it. And there was a woman of about 45 years of age with a blue feather boa. And it said, find the first picture, and that's your glamour photo. I'm like, really? So I had, is Matt in here? Had Matt do it. His was perfect. It was some guy in some vest with magic cards, like not like Magic the Gathering, but I'm talking about playing cards, like he was doing a magic trick, but for glamour photos. It was beautiful. And then I asked a guy that was here earlier, his name's Ben, and I'm thinking, this is going to be great, okay? We're gonna. Ben Affleck came up as his. It's like, I get an elderly woman with a feathered boa, and he gets freaking Batman over here. I'm dealing with the unforgiveness still on that. But anyway, how did I get on there from Matthew? I don't know. So, how my mind works, God knows, and even then, he's like, what the crap? So, Matthew 6, going to 14, and then we're going to go to verse 15. Is it up on screen? Dang it, man! Dang you and your technology! No! Oh, sorry, I did the Darth Vader. No! Anyways. For if you forgive others their trespasses, their stupidity, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. This kind of puts it into perspective. This goes hand in hand with the thing of where if you say that you're a believer of Christ, you have no choice but to forgive. It's kind of the package deal. Because the way that God sees it, everything that we did through our entire lives before we gave our lives to him was sin, was rebellion against the way that he designed things to operate. And so everything that we have done is so much worse than any stupid thing that anyone can do towards us. And so what he says here is, he says, if you forgive others, I'll forgive you. Because that is the heart of a Christian. That is the heart of a servant of me. But if you refuse to forgive others, if you choose to hang on to that anger and that resentment and that bitterness, you don't understand my love. Please, people, listen. This is so important. If you think that you are a Christian and you make no effort whatsoever to deal with your anger and your unforgiveness, this is talking about you. Because it shows that you have no understanding of what Jesus did for you and what God has done for you. And you have no relationship with him because you do not understand his love at all. Because you do not allow his love into your life that will push you and urge you to forgive others and let go of that anger and that hate. Because I have seen too many people that call themselves Christians that hold on to anger and hate and unforgiveness, and they are unable to comprehend the true love of God because of this. So as I talk about all this stuff, I know that people are coming up in your heart, they're coming up in your mind, you're thinking of people in your life that have wronged you, that have done things that you have unforgiveness towards, and I urge you, pray about that. Go to God and say, God, help me deal with this. Help me forgive them and truly move on with my life. Help me walk in love towards that, because that's the only thing that is going to set you free from that feeling of anger and resentment and unforgiveness towards that person and allow you to actually walk it out, is letting the love of God come into your heart truly so that you can extend that towards other people. And again, I come back. This could be a thing to where it's a quick thing of where, I just forgave that person. Or it could be a thing to where it is years to where it is a constant process of where you're forgiving that person every hour, then eventually it becomes every day, then eventually it becomes every week, then eventually every month, then every year. Then eventually you're only doing it once a decade. Then eventually you're not even thinking about what that person did wrong to you, and you have forgiven them. That's why I said it is worth the dedication and commitment to walk it out. Going to Luke, turning over to the right just a little bit here. Matthew, Mark, Luke. Luke with an L. La, 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 la. Are we playing magical chairs over here? She stole your chair, so now you stole hers back. Oh. Sorry, you didn't call Super Seat Saver. Should have called it. But I appreciate that, because in the middle of a service, it's kind of distracting. It takes me off to where now I'm talking about Super Seat Saver. Luke 17:4. Dang it. I was just going to say, when I put my hand up, then you can, never mind. Luke 17:4. And it's talking about people that are around you, and they were talking about temptations to sin. And he's talking, and he says, if he sins, or your brother sins against you 7 times in the day, and turns to you 7 times saying, I repent, you must forgive him. How many of you have people in your life to where they keep doing the same stupid thing, and they keep saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Come on, hands. Everybody knows someone like that. Just the rest of you are dirty liars. I do that. Thank you for your honesty. That is, I'm a jerk. If anyone sins against you 7 times in the day, that's a lot, and turns to you 7 times and says, I repent, you must forgive them. And you're thinking, what? No. Okay, only this many times. If this person sins against me like 3 times, maybe then. But I cannot justify forgiving this person again and 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 again. I can't justify it. I can't do it. And Jesus says otherwise. He says every single time someone does something stupid to you, and every time they ask for forgiveness, you forgive them. And actually the heart and the attitude of what he's going for here is that you just forgive them. You don't wait for them to say sorry. You don't wait for them to send you a card. You don't wait for them to poke you on Facebook before you start talking to them again. What you do is you just forgive them no matter what. Because it doesn't matter whether they repent, whether they say they're sorry. You have to forgive them anyways. So why don't you just get it out of the way and be ready just in case they repent, just in case they ask for your forgiveness. Because what he was dealing with here specifically was a culture issue. And we're going to go back over to Matthew, flip over to the left again, Matthew 18. And we're going to verse 21, 35. Wait for my hand, Noah, or I swear I will come back there and I will point my finger at you. Do it? That would be really awkward on YouTube. It's like all of a sudden I'm off the stage and just you hear it in the microphone. It's like I do the monkey from Family Guy. Chris, why are you up in your room? I can't go up there. There's an evil monkey up in my room. Yeah, I'm going to turn you into poo. So Peter and Jesus are having a conversation. Then Peter came up and said to Jesus, Lord, how often will my brother sin against me and I forgive him? As many as 7 times? Now at the time, I believe from the culture it was 3 or 4 times that you had to forgive them. Then if they kept doing the same thing, you did not have to forgive them anymore because they've had their chance, no more. That was the culture. That was the rule of the culture at the time. So Peter, he goes to Jesus and he thinks that he's being generous. And he says, as many as 7 times? Check me out, guys. I'm the crap. And Jesus is like, no, you're not. As many as 7 times. And Jesus said to him, I do not say to you 7 times, but 70 times 7. Or how does it say in this translation? 77 times? 70 times 7. Yep, that's what I make sure. Some translations are different. 70 times 7. So Peter's over there. He doesn't have his phone. His iPhone's gone, so he doesn't have his calculator on. He was like, because they were homeschooled back then too, so math was restricted to their fingers, and that only goes so far. So at that point, he's thinking, well, how am I going to keep track of that? Jesus was planning on that. Jesus goes on, he says, therefore the kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who wished to settle accounts with his servants. And Jesus is teaching a story. How many of you are ready for story time? I need my Mr. Rogers shoes and my Mr. Rogers vest, and I need my Mr. Rogers chair. I need a trolley, and I need cat and owl and what the cat that lives in the clock, you know. Meow, meow, me crazy, meow, meow. So, anyways. That just happened. Therefore the king... Dang. It's a beautiful day in the kingdom of God. Okay. Therefore, the kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who wished to settle accounts with his servants. Anything that they owed him, settle accounts, paying up debts. When he began to settle, one was brought to him who owed 10,000 talents. Basically, we'll just say $10,000 because that's easier. And since he could not pay, his master ordered him to be sold with his wife and children and all that he had and payment to be made. Because that's what happened back then. Okay, you take out a loan from the bank, you can't make a payment. They're like, that's okay. We're going to sell your house and your kids and your wife and your dog. If you don't have a dog, we're going to buy you one, then sell it. Yeah, it's quite rude. And so that was the culture of the time. So he couldn't pay, and so they're saying, we're going to sell everything you have to make the payment. So the servant fell on his knees, imploring him, saying, have patience with me, and I will pay you everything. And out of pity for him, the master of that servant released him and forgave him the debt. He just said, you owe me $10,000. You know what? You're crying. I can't stand crying people, so you know what? Forget it. You don't owe me anything. I was going to sell your house, your kids, your wife, the dog that I was going to buy you. We're going to sell everything to make back the money that you owe me. Probably you still won't be good enough, but at least we'll get close. I'm going to forgive the debt. Gone. That would be cool. I would think that would be awesome if I can go to the bank and cry a little bit, and they're like, oh, don't worry about your mortgage, your car payments, whatever, just keep it. Do you have an extra pair of pants? You know, it's like, I would be so excited about that. And so he fell on his knees imploring him. Out of pity for him, the master of the servant released him and forgave him the debt. But when the servant went out, he found one of his fellow servants who owed him $100. And seizing him, he began to choke him, saying, pay what you owe, because that's how they talk back then. And his fellow servant fell down and pleaded with him. I'm seeing a pattern here. Have patience with me, and I will pay you. He refused and went and put him in prison until he should pay the debt, because that's another thing that they did. If you owed someone else money, it's like, hey, man, can I have a quarter for some nachos? And they couldn't pay back the quarter, you throw them in jail until they can pay back that quarter that they bought nachos with. And if they didn't have nachos, you'd buy them nachos and then take it away from them and put them in prison because he couldn't afford a dog. When his fellow servants saw what had taken place, they were greatly distressed, and they went and reported to their master all that had taken place. Then his master summoned him and said to him, you wicked servant, I forgave you all that debt because you pleaded with me. And should not you have had mercy on your fellow servant as I had mercy on you? And in anger his master delivered him to the jailers until he should pay his debt. And also my heavenly Father will do to every one of you if you do not forgive your brother from your heart. Holy crap. That goes back to what we were talking about before. You forgive other people. God forgives you. If you don't forgive other people, God can't forgive you. That's the issue. That's the lie that I want to put to death tonight. Is too many Christians think that you can carry anger towards other people and unforgiveness towards other people and be okay. And it's not true. Because what you have been forgiven is so much more. It's the $10,000 that guy owed. It was so much more than the $100 the other guy owed. And it's the exact same thing. You have been forgiven so much. In getting a realization in a heart of understanding what has gone on here, what you have been forgiven, if you truly understood that, you couldn't help but forgive other people. Because you were thankful, you were grateful that debt has been forgiven you, that you are just willing to forgive anything that happens. And again, it comes back to the scale, because I know a lot of you in here are going, you have no idea what I've gone through and what I have dealt with in my life. I'm going to be so bold as to say there is nothing that can happen to you that is unforgivable. And I know a lot of you are going, bull crap! That's fine. You can be angry with me if you want. I have had the honor and the privilege of working with young people who have gone through terrible things. Not just simple things of, bad hair days, but they were abused physically and verbally. They were molested and raped. And they blew me away in the love that they operated in, because once they got a hold of the type of love that God has for them, they forgave someone. Can you imagine being raped as a small child and forgiving the person that did that to you? Because some of you have lived that. I cannot imagine living through that myself. I have no grounds to say that I can understand what that's like. But the pain and the hurt that person dealt with, and then also to come through it and show love and forgive that person, that's why I'm bold enough to say there is nothing that can happen to you that is unforgivable. Because I have seen the unforgivable be forgiven. So I want to encourage you, search your heart. It's your life. It's your heart. It's your emotion. It is your choice. Love is a choice. If you want to walk out in that love, you have to forgive. How do you forgive? You make a choice to love. You find the difficult things in your life, the things that have hurt you the most, and you go to God and you say, God, I give this to you. Help me deal with it. And I know some of you are in here and you've never made a choice to actually give your life to God. So when I talk about this to where it's saying, you pray, go to God, you're thinking, how do I do this? I don't even have a relationship with Him on any level. The Bible says that God so loved the world that He gave His only Son, that whoever believes in Him would be forgiven. That they wouldn't have to perish. They wouldn't have to die and be separated from God. They would be one with Him. He said He did not send His Son into the world to condemn it, but to save it through Him, to forgive them through Him. So the place that you need to start is you need to understand the love that God has for you, because He sent His only child to die for you so that you can experience that forgiveness genuinely. So if you've never made that choice to where you just want to give your heart to Christ, you want to say, God, my life is yours. And ultimately help me understand that love so I can forgive other people. I'm going to count to 3. I'm not going to do a whole big fanfare. I'm going to count to 3, and I just want you to stand up. And standing up is that physical act of saying, tonight is a new night. Tonight is a new time of the rest of my life. I'm going to walk that out in my life. So when I get to 3, don't wait for your friends. Don't hesitate. Just stand. Because if you're not ready to stand, you're not ready to make that choice. And I'm not going to do that to you. It's 1, 2, 3. Awesome. I want you guys to pray with me, and it's not the prayer. I want you guys to understand it is not the prayer. There's nothing magical about the prayer. It's not some formula. It is the decision that you're making in your heart. Because you could be standing right now and you have no idea why you're standing. And saying this prayer is not going to hurt you whatsoever. But if you mean it in your heart and you're saying, God, I want you to come into my life. I want to give my life to you, and I want you to change me completely. Show me that love and allow me to walk in forgiveness. That's the decision. That's the key. But I want you to pray with me, because the Bible says if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is your Lord, that means that He is number one in your life, and that God raised Him from the dead, you will be saved, that you will be forgiven. So if you just pray with me and be respectful, just say, God, you're speaking to the Creator of all things. Don't be shy. Say, God, I give my life to you and everything in it. My life is yours completely. Forgive me for everything I've ever done. Show me your love so I can show others. Amen. Awesome. You guys can sit down. If you stood up tonight, or even if you didn't stand up tonight and you need a Bible, we have the Bible packs up here. I will give you a Bible for free. If you did stand up and that was a genuine thing, a genuine decision, I really want to talk to you. And if you don't want to talk to me up here or afterwards, please find one of the adult leaders and talk to them. We want to get some resources into your hands so that we can get you on the right path, because this is just the beginning. If all you do is you stand up and you say a prayer once and you don't change anything in your life, the Bible says, I have a really cool t-shirt that says, "Get the hell out." And on the back it says, Romans 12:2, it says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." And what it's talking about is it's talking about reading your Bible, praying, seeking God, changing this so that you can operate as you should in this life and understand what it truly means to be a Christian. So please do not leave here without getting a Bible. Let me pray for you guys before we go. God, I just thank you for this night. I thank you for every choice that was made. I speak safety over every single person. And I thank you for the warm weather. Thank you, Jesus, for that. About time. I thank you for the opportunity that we have to come here to learn about you, to share your love with each other, and be there for one another. God, open up doors, opportunity for us to share that love, but soften our hearts so that we can truly forgive other people and not harbor unforgiveness and resentful feelings toward others. Amen.